Hello and welcome to the Back Nine Report. We continue counting down, along with Fred Altvater and Kieran Clark, the top 10 stories in golf for 2021. And we have made it all the way to number five. And number five has to be the Asian players breakthrough. We had Hideki Matsuyama winning the Masters. Amazing story there. We had Yuka Saso on the LPGA winning as well on the U.S. Women's Open. Patty Tavatanakit, amazing. She did three things. She won a major on the ANA Inspiration. She was also a winner for the Rolex Annika Major Award winner. That means that she was the one that did the best on all the majors on the LPGA, plus was the Rookie of the Year. But those are just maybe the three at top. I mean, we can talk about the resurgence of Lydia Ko, Min Jae Lee also winning another major. I mean, it doesn't stop here. So, Fred, how about the Asian players breakthrough? I know you've been wanting to talk about this, so let's talk about it.
Well, the Asian players, they made a lot of headlines in golf in 2021 that you alluded to. It all began the week before the Masters with a rookie, Patty Tavatanakit, winning the ANA championship. That's a major. That's big. She's a rookie. Yeah, she's out of Thailand. She won 3 events on the 2019 Symetra Tour, played in just 14 events in 2020 on the LPGA Tour, then won a major for her first LPGA Tour win at the tender age of 22. She's got a long ways to go. She hits it long, throws in solid putting to keep it interesting. She also recorded top 10 finishes in the Women's PGA, the U.S. Women's Open, and the Women's British to finish third on the race to the CME Globe at the end of the season. Hideki Matsuyama has been knocking on the door of greatness for several years. You know, and he's one of your favorite players, Carlos. You always watch him. You always talk about him. He went through some personal issues in 2020, but when 2021 dawned, he was ready and donned the green jacket in April. This was a gigantic victory for all of Asia, Japan especially. It was a perfect lead into the Olympics being held in Tokyo in August, and the win elevated Hideki to godlike status in his home country. While still only 19, Japan's Yuka Saso kept the hits coming for the Asians with a win at the U.S. Women's Open at the Olympic Club in San Francisco, one of the most demanding golf courses in the world. She had just turned professional in 2019, already had 2 wins in Japan before making the U.S. Women's Open her first win in the United States. Korean women have long dominated the LPGA, but for Hideki to become the first Asian man to win a major was gigantic for all the Pacific Rim countries. Guys, we've been talking about it for a long time. China is ramping up their golfing program over there. South Korea has always been really good in women's golf. Japan has had a few good players over the years. But right now, we're just seeing more and more Asian women and men coming to the top of the golf world right now.
And another apologies to another country, Philippines, for Yuka Saso, not Japan. So
well, she has double.
Yeah,
right?
she is technically Filipino Japanese. Yes.
Yes, but she has to deny the Filipino, and she's going to maintain the Japan. So I knew that. I did not mess that up. But she's
but Carlos, one thing that Fred did mess up was he said that Hideki was the first Asian man to win a major. Now, just ask Tiger Woods about Y.E. Yang. So he's the second Asian man to win a major. That's
anyway, the first major winner, male or female, Yuka Saso from the Philippines. So, hey,
yes.
Kieran, how about this Asian breakthrough? I mean, we have been seeing it in the women first with the South Koreans, but it's not only that. I mean, we see now from Thailand, the Philippines, all over. I mean, and now the men are also joining that. So we have always talked about the Asians being the Asian area being that next frontier to develop well on the in golf, and being that one where we're going to see a lot of top players coming up. It just seems like this was the breakthrough year, and it's just starting.
Oh, very much so. I think it's we've talked about it for a long time, and it's a sign of the future. You know, obviously an extraordinary population numbers over in Asia. You know, an extraordinarily large continent. And golf is now more international than ever before, and that can only be a good thing. I mean, it's the game is now more international. It's more competitive. Depth is now just incredible, and I mean, Hideki Matsuyama is going to be just an icon now for winning the Masters. And it's interesting because Hideki obviously has been around for a long time now, and 3 or 4 years ago was probably at his best in terms of winning WGCs. He won that amazing performance at the Bridgestone at Firestone some years ago. But this one at Augusta, it kind of came a little bit from left field. He hadn't really been talked about as one of the favourites, whereas maybe 2 or 3 years ago he would have been. But it was a great performance. He held it together there in the last few holes. Obviously, a slightly kind of ugly finish. With a few bogeys there. Xander Schauffele with the job of the easier form, of course. But it was a great victory, an overdue triumph for a player of his immense ability, and it felt significant. For Japan, for Asia, for golf as a whole, and for him. A great talent finally getting that first major. And everyone loved the shot of his caddy, bowing down to the golf course at the conclusion there, just that respectful, sense that you always get from the Japanese people. And it was a fantastic win. And Hideki, of course, Fred touched on the Olympic Games. Didn't quite happen for him there in Tokyo. But he ended the year, of course, by winning in home soil in front of home fans. And that was great for him on the PGA Tour too. So I expect Hideki to actually push on next year now and potentially add to his Masters triumph. He's had that year where he's tried to obviously deal with what he's just achieved, and now it's trying to rebuild the start again. But in terms of the LPGA Tour major winners, Carlos, I love the 2 wins. Patty Tavatanakit is just a wonderfully impressive player to watch. So powerful, great golf swing. She was so dominant for much of the event at Mission Hills at the ANA. And Fred touched on her other performances this past season in the majors. Certainly a player that has the potential to win multiple majors in the coming years. We've also seen the Utanagaran sisters do so well for Thailand, and now we get Patty there, and she's going to potentially surpass the 2 of them because wonderful player. And Yuka Saso, another great golf swing. Obviously that event at Olympic Club was kind of defined by Lexi Thompson's collapse, really her struggles at the end there, really lost her game, lost her feel, lost her touch, lost her nerve, has to be said. But Yuka Saso, what a player, what a golf swing, based on Rory McIlroy's swinger hero, who of course she actually got to meet a few weeks later, which is a great story. Amazing golf swing, great temperament. How she won that so calmly was fantastic. And it just underlines the great depth of talent that we see now in both the men's and women's games. Hideki is going to be the future. He's going to be the icon for Asian golf on the men's side now. Can we see a group of players right behind him? It's quite possible. And now we've seen the Asian dominance on the LPGA Tour for many years now, and that's showing no sign of changing. But I think you touched on it there, Carlos, where we're now seeing a diversity of countries. And of course, we also have, you mentioned obviously Lydia Ko and Minjee Lee, who of course are from Australia and New Zealand, but of course are from Asian heritage as well. So it's, golf's diverse at the highest level now. Different internationals and nationalities, different races, and that's only a great thing for the game. Making it more diverse, more welcoming, more inclusive, and just making it the game, the world's game. And right now, golf. You look at the winners on both the PGA Tour and the LPGA Tour. Golf is certainly the world's game right now.
Pretty soon, that world tour that we've been waiting for is going to happen on both sides. But anyway, it's great to see the Asian players coming on this breakthrough. I can't wait to see what it's going to bring out now in 2022 for them. The sky's the limit, so we'll see. But anyway, that was our number 5 Asian players breakthrough in 2021. We're up to number 4 coming up next, so you want to watch it, wait for tomorrow. Thank you for joining us on this one.